What is going on, everybody, man? Welcome to another edition of the Nashville Man Cave. I'm your host, Damo Unleash, and I got a good friend of mine also to my right. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man, and plug them into anything you need to plug them into.
Man, what is going on? First of all, thanks everybody for being here. Tuesdays is podcast days, right? So if you see me and Damo, today is Tuesday, right?
Right.
And so we're gonna have some fun, we're gonna talk, we're gonna learn from each other. But for those of you that don't know me, my name is Sky Black. I'm a music publisher, an entrepreneur, a pro wrestler, and at the bottom, as you see at the screen, man, we got the radio show, Off Top Record, offtopradio.com. We got the streaming service, offtoprecords.net. So if you are independent artist, up and coming artist, and you can't get radio play or you can't get streaming, hit me up at Sky Black, at sky.black at gmail.com.
All right, and for all of you guys that's viewing this podcast, make sure if y'all want advertising, email me at souldrivenllc@gmail.com to contact me for advertising. All advertisement is $10 for 30 days. So if you are interested, and you can't find that kind of affordable advertising anywhere.
So you can't beat that with a stick.
Right. Like I said, just look at the ticker. Y'all see the information down below. We hope to hear from you guys soon. If you have any family members or friends you want to give a birthday shout out to, or if you have an event, or if you have a wedding that you would like to go ahead and promote, put it down below or reach out to us, and we'll be happy to run this on this ticker. So
correct.
But man, today, you know what? We was talking about how each other's weekends was, right?
Yeah.
And I had a great weekend. I mean, it was absolutely outstanding. To see the 49ers lose,
no more undefeated teams.
And did you see the pre-fight?
No, that's crazy. I had heard about it, on these shows, but I didn't know there was a pre-fight during the warm-ups. I didn't know that.
You know what, 49ers? Y'all came to Cleveland looking for gold, and y'all got bit by some dogs. That's all I'm going to tell y'all. Y'all got bit by some dogs.
You got bit by some dogs, man. Congratulations to the Cleveland Browns, man. What are y'all, 3-3 now?
No, 3-2. But the defense,
3-2? Okay.
That defense in 5 games have allowed 1,000 yards. That hasn't been done in 50 years.
That's historical. That's what's up. So, that is what's up.
Y'all know I'm ready. Y'all know I'm ready. Y'all know I'm ready. Super Bowl.
I know you're ready. Look at them. The champ is in the house.
We got to get that Super Bowl one of these years, man. Hopefully we get it this year.
And the crazy part about it is me being like a novelist to the Cleveland Browns. The only people I ever really knew was Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson. And did y'all have whatchamacallit? Y'all still got him. Nick Chubb.
Yeah. Man, did you see what happened to him, though?
He got injured.
Man, I mean, that looked almost career ending. It's a shock that it's only one ligament. And it's not
right. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right.
Because remember at Georgia, wasn't it? Who was they playing in college when he blew his knee out? And that was
brutal. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I have no clue about that.
Yeah, he had another, and you wouldn't even know it because this dude is squatting like 600 plus pounds, almost 700 pounds.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
Yes, that is.
You give me 100, and I'm clutching my back.
Hey, but y'all got Kareem Hunt too, right?
Yeah, we got him. He just came back. So
my point was, other than those people, y'all actually have a team.
Yeah,
y'all don't have a bunch of superstars trying to make all the plays. Y'all have an actual team.
Amari Cooper,
special teams, and when you have a team, that's when you know you got a good season.
It sure is.
I don't have to know everybody's name. I can just watch the game and say, hey, these guys are ready to play.
Right.
Because if you got a double team Myles Garrett and they still got 3 other people that can beat 1-on-1 and get to your quarterback, you gonna have a long day.
Yeah, sure
And that's what
enough.
happened to Brock Purdy. Yeah,
Better
they would get
I'm
to
glad you the quarterback and not me.
but you.
You know it's bad when you know you're gonna get hit
When you know
multiple
it's
times.
coming. When you know it's coming, that's correct.
You know them
But
ice
again,
tubs is good
congratulations to the
investment.
Cleveland Browns, man, they deserve it.
Them ice tubs is good investments, I tell you.
Woo! I've been in once in my life in high school. I played fullback and linebacker, and I got in one of them. I thought I was in a coffin because when you get that cold, your muscles don't move.
Oh,
They just
man.
don't move. That's ridiculous.
Damn.
So when I be watching these, and excuse me, because you might have some people watching, but when I be watching my white friends do things like jump in like really, really cold, like up in Minnesota,
Oh, yeah.
jump in that
In
type
the
of
lake.
water, I'm like, what are y'all doing? That's freezing cold, and you butt naked jumped into that water. If it feels like anything like those ice tubs, y'all are crazy. You know what I'm saying?
My nuts
Not
wouldn't
saying I
allow
don't
it.
do crazy things, but that's crazy.
My nuts wouldn't allow it, man. Because you know how.
Man,
Let me tell you, when we get in the water, you know how we do it. We put that one leg in, let it get used to it.
Yep.
Then we'll put that other leg in, and then we'll slowly. Because, man, when that stuff hit your man parts, man.
That's right.
Bruh. And that ain't even
Man,
the ice water.
Right.
That's just the regular cold pool water.
What you said, whether it's a swimming pool or the tub, that one leg go first or that toe dips into it. The temperature, that temperature toe, that's what I call it. Let that big toe get in there first and see what that temperature is. Yeah, you're right.
Man. And even then, man, them feet, when they go in there, man, that's a shock to your body, man. I don't care what y'all
Right, it is.
And they be diving in and in the mountains and stuff. And I'm like, man, you only got one layer on. Man, I'll be up there like this. I'll be like, what's that dude on Kenny on South Park?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I can't do it, man. When I was coming up, because I graduated in 97, Glencliff, we was over there by Percy Priest Lake. I had my white friends, they were jumping off of 80-foot cliffs into the lake. I'm like, I'm not doing that, dude. You crazy.
Oh, yeah, they nuts.
You won't feel a thing. I know, because I ain't jumping.
Man. Skiing, that's something else. Something else you'll never see me doing. I don't care what y'all talking about. Y'all never gonna see me skiing. Cause I'm sorry. Ain't no way. Mountain climbing, y'all be up there in the mountains, man, knowing that it's gonna be about 6 days before they can get to y'all. Talking about save me, man, I'm buried 5 feet below the snow. Not me.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what's wrong with them folks, man. I mean, I love my white friends, but I don't know what's wrong with them, to be honest. But hey, we all have our vices. We all have our vices.
You know what? Let me tell you.
Like you said, ours is just not mountain climbing and jumping into 0-degree weather,
And let me tell you, man, that's why they make sure that they have life insurance. Now, I'm telling you, any of my people doing it, I'm going to make sure that y'all got life insurance, man. Because if you're going to do something dumb, we need to get broke off.
That's absolutely correct. Because not only do they need some of that money to bury you, they might need some of that money to come find your body. Like you said, depending on where they at.
Sure. Or go on a vacation to a warm spot.
Right, and you get lost, you gotta hope that no animals can chew on your body. I mean, all type of variables out there.
Wasn't it a movie or a true story about a plane falling off into one of them icy mountains and them people being stuck and they've been eating off each other's butt cheeks?
I don't know if it was in a mountain, but they had crashed it was in North America. It was based on a true story. And they had crashed. It was like 6 of them. And they didn't think they were going to live. So as they were dying off, they was eating each other. But the crazy part is, how do you eat a cold human? It'd be different if they could start a fire and warm the meat and the skin up.
You know what?
But how do you eat a freezing cold human? That's the part. Your teeth got to be as hard as this table I'm at.
I used to ask that question. I used to wonder that myself. But then when I see what some of y'all put your mouths on that's alive, there was no question of what y'all would put your mouth on, what was dead. You know what I'm saying? So,
But that was all to explore when that plane went down. But see, I wouldn't even been there. I wouldn't be on my way to explore nothing in no South Pole, North Pole, Antarctica, Iceland, anything that even sounds cold, I'm not going.
Man, me neither.
I watched the. Have you seen the movie Meg?
Yeah, I seen that.
Have you seen two?
Nah, I ain't seen two, but I seen
Okay,
one.
yeah. I've seen both of them, and either one of them, they're crazy. They're crazy. Hey, who's going down there? Whatever God got down there will stay down there. I ain't going down there.
Me neither. You know, God created gravity for a reason. And I'm going to stay on the gravity part that I'm supposed to be on. You ain't going to see me in no plane skydiving. You ain't going to see me bungee jumping. None of that crap. Nope. I was watching a show where some dudes it was 3 people parachuting. And one of the parachuters smacked into the other one, and that other one was out cold. And you could see his eye lumped up and everything. And it wasn't until a couple 1,000 feet before he came to. And luckily, one of the other skydivers was able to glide over and get to him and let off his parachute, the big part, and to help him until he came to. And then he was able to crash land a little bit better than he would have had that dude not open that parachute up. And I was like, man, it wouldn't have been no next time with me. Brother, I'm sorry, man. That would have been the first, and that would have been the last skydive that I would have did.
Watching these James Bond movies or these what they call Mission Impossible movies, they put quick.
Yeah, like them going into the sea, going into the ocean in that little pod. You know, man, like you knew you was gonna blow up, man. And how all of y'all rich like that, and that's the way to go out? Ain't no way in hell. No.
I don't know. Maybe they bored. Maybe they were bored. Hell, I don't know, man. But no, you right. Rich or poor, I'm not doing that. That makes no sense to me. It makes none whatsoever.
Yeah. So we recap this. You ain't gonna see us in no mountains.
Nope.
If it's below 5 degrees or if it's below 0, you ain't gonna see me. I'm quite sure y'all ain't gonna probably see Sky Black.
Nope.
You ain't gonna see us up in no skydiving. Nope. If I gotta jump out of the plane, it's because I know somebody trying to purposely crash it. That's the only time you're gonna see me jumping out of a plane, right?
That's correct.
And you ain't gonna see me in the ocean. I don't want nothing to do with the ocean, bro.
I got people right now that want me to go on cruises with them. And I'm like, I ain't there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I know y'all been on 10, 15 cruises, but man, being out in the middle of the ocean where you can't see land for miles. No, come on. I ain't there yet. I might do it, but not now. No. Oh, it's safe. Ain't that wrong? I'm not saying that. It's a mental thing. Everywhere I go, I can see land somewhere. But when you that far out,
right?
And you can't see land from that's just crazy.
You swimming and you done swam for 2 hours and you still ain't seen no land yet?
Man, nope.
Man, something else I was tripping on and I was following. Something else. And before we jump into the show, y'all. Yeah, this whole Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, and Jada, man, you got to get off them drugs. You doing too much, man.
My whole thing is, in a nutshell, right? You know how we be talking about folks that are having a hard time, working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, not taking care of their kids, committing crime, doing all this stuff. Why? And like you said, people not going to libraries, getting books, trying to educate themselves. More people are fascinated about Jada and Will's relationship than they are trying to get themselves together.
I think it's
not one time have I've seen the highlights, Damo, but I haven't dove into it because at the end of the day, she's still a human. He's still a human. I don't care how much money they got, how famous they are. Their divorce ain't no different than the divorce next door. You know what I'm saying? And millions of people that are starving, talking about gas is too high, this is too high, but yet you take the time to want to know what's going on with Will and Jada. It blows my mind.
You know what it is? I figured it out.
Yeah, the poor is the reason why the rich is rich. We either buy stuff from them, we work for them, or we keep up with them. And then you wonder why you working 3 jobs. Jada and Will ain't working 3 jobs. They got millions of dollars. But yet you're taking time out of your life that you could be investing, reading, doing something, trying to figure out what's going on between them, and that's the part that confuses me.
I think what it is I think it's more of a shock culture. Like
Right,
never before, like we know this, you said it before. We know that this stuff happened. Divorces is a daily thing. That stuff happens on
right,
daily. But never have we seen somebody get disrespected, cheated on by their wife with their child's friend, and then sit across the table and interview their spouse. That's new. I mean, we've seen, some bad situations come out in public, but this is some new,
right.
this is some new stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
this shock culture. Or somebody saying
Right.
that, man, getting up and nobody really asks. But then you get up on video and tell people that you ain't been with them since 2016 because what it took me back to is, well, dang, why the heck did he smack Chris Rock like that? Because we thought that they was together. We didn't know. Public didn't know. And so when that come out, we like, dang, why
Yeah.
is you embarrassing this dude like that?
Well, first of all, why did Will even do what he did if he knew that him and Jada wasn't even together?
But we didn't know. And that's the
Yeah, we didn't know,
part.
but he knew.
Yeah,
He knew.
and you're right. He knows. So then that makes it even more. Now you understand why people are. It's not. I think this isn't something that people go and try to dig into. But I just
Right.
think that she just put it on. It's just like if let's say Beyonce came out on television and pulled her boob out. I mean, we weren't
Right.
looking to look, but if it's right there, man, we're gonna talk about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like
Hmm.
this chick. I mean, we know some treacherous females out here, but this chick,
Right.
man, on a whole new level.
A whole new
And
level.
it's just shocking to see. So I just, the memes took me. Man, did you see the meme with Suge
Yeah.
and Tupac and her in the back seat? I
Hmm.
fell out, man.
Right. And you're right about that. And so now it makes me the only part I care about is Will, because you have been suspended for 10 years
Over that.
over a woman that you're not with.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they made up and got back together. That's what I thought had happened.
Yeah.
But y'all weren't even back together, and you put your career on the line.
And she
I
coming
don't
out,
know, man.
putting all this out in video. She's putting all this out. And nobody's asking her. This is something that she's just putting out there. So it's just over the weekend, man. I work late night, so I'm on security.
Right.
I'm, man, surfing on the net, and I come across this stuff, and I'm like, man, this is some bizarre, man. Who needs soap operas when you got stuff like this out? And it's like, why do
But
we got to put all our business on the internet?
that's true. But in that situation, as long as I've known you, you ain't never really complained about anything, right?
Right,
Your bills are paid, your wife is taken care of, your kids are taken care of. You good.
right.
So on your spare time, if you want to buy People Magazine Ebony Jet, that's fine. My issues is the ones that complain all the time about money and this and that, but yet you can call me and talk about Will and Jada. Like that's the part I'm.
Oh yeah.
See, you at work, you take care of your business, so you got 2-3 hours spare time. Shit, I don't blame you. Entertain yourself.
Right.
But my thing is against those other ones that you see on TikTok and YouTube, crying and talking about they gonna get evicted. But yet, those are the ones that's watching Jada do all this stuff. I'm like, man, you can't have both. You only got so much time in this world. You can't worry about Jada and Will and then sit here and cry about that you ain't making enough money to pay your bills.
And most of them be on. You see them on social media. Or I know who you talking
Mm-hmm.
about. The ones that be
Yeah.
on social media all day and all night. And I'm like,
Correct.
dang, what kind of lifestyle that you got where you could be on there all day and all night? It's hard for me to get on social media every 3 or 4 days. Most of the time, I'm too tired, man. Work beat, man. I be tired. I don't have energy like
Right.
that. I know y'all probably be like, man, we're dang. Man, he's
Take care of his business.
he working or he sleep, man.
Correct. That is correct. And so, with those that got themselves together, there's nothing wrong with being entertained. I entertain myself. I watch this and that, but you've never heard me complain either.
Right.
But if I'm in that situation to where I can't go buy milk and bread and the bills are too high, man, I'm out here, I'm dashing, I'm lifting, I ain't got time to worry about Will and Jada. I'm out here trying to get mine. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Shame in my game. So,
Yeah, but other than that, to my weekend, man, it wasn't much of nothing, man. The weather didn't change. It's cold. I think we're out of, fall. I think we're heading trending more toward winter.
Yeah, yeah. It is, and so I cut my grass maybe 3-4 days ago, and I was like, Lord, I hope this is it, so I can put this lawnmower.
Yeah, I think it's it. I'm not sure it's it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but y'all, we wanted to get in the topic today: the state of hip hop, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
absolutely,
we're gonna talk about the good first, man. Both of us.
Okay.
I've been in music since '97. So 97, and I think the last thing I did anything music-wise has been 2014.
Okay.
So, I got a good couple decades in it. Of course, from a fan from childhood, but as far as a musician, about a good 20 years almost. You have been in music for how long?
I really got into it in 2003. But by 2006, I took it seriously. And by 2009, I got all my, what you call them, degrees and business licenses and all that stuff. So when people ask me, I usually tell them about 2009.
Good, cool, man. So some of the good, let's talk about the good, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the good things that I think that is going on in the music industry today compared to some years ago is musicians have more power over their music. So with the internet, you don't necessarily need a record label. You could go viral, and we watch songs go viral just being on the internet.
Correct. You're right about that. And so you're right, it bypasses the middleman.
Yes.
If it's good if, again, I always talk about that left brain, right brain, right? So the right brain, I'll say, is the musician. A treble clef, bass clef, a chord, a 4-beat signature. You're good at that, right?
Right.
But if you're not left brain, if you're not good at business, I can give you the pathway. I can give you the iTunes, the Spotify, all this stuff, and you won't make a dime because it's just not in you to do like contract laws and things like that.
Right.
It's not in you. So yes, you can bypass the middleman, but you got to ask yourself, do you want to save money to try to bypass the middleman, or do you want to give up just a little bit of your royalties so you can just focus on music?
Right. Right. And I think the latter is better. It's better to, like what you do. It'll be good for artists to come to you and put all that into your hands so then they can focus on the artistry part of it. Because it's hard to wear, like, I got on one hat. What would I look like putting on another hat and another hat and another hat? Then I'm overwhelmed.
Hey, me and you, we old school with it. You tell a new child, or let's say your daughter's 23, right?
Right.
Okay, so you tell a 23-year-old, hey man, I'm wearing a lot of hats. I ain't gonna know what the hell you talking about. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When you tell an entrepreneur, man, I'm wearing too many hats, I know what you're talking about. So what you just said might have went over some people's head.
Right.
Wearing too many hats.
And you can get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Also, I think something that's really good also is, as a fan, I don't have to buy. One thing I used to hate about the old school is if you like the artist and they had 2 or good 3 songs out, to actually get access, you had to buy the whole album.
Correct.
And a lot of times the album was garbage. But you had to have them 2 or 3 good songs.
That is absolutely correct.
Now, you can do what? You can just go on the internet and download that that song.
That is true. See, when I was coming up, let's just go with like No Limit and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They would put out just a single. whether it's on cassette or CD. It was just a single. It had the regular, the clean version, the instrumental, and the acapella. Just that one single, right? And so then the album would come out, and like you said, they would have a few good songs, and then the rest of them would be like, ugh, why did I buy it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I get that. But see, as a music publisher, I know why they do what they do.
Right.
As a fan, you said, man, that is terrible. But on the business side, it makes complete sense to me.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Because now it's harder. You don't even see artists nowadays really putting out albums. They'll put out a
Right.
single. And
Yeah, I'm there. You sell them, make $1 million off one song.
Right.
I'm not mad at you on that one.
Right.
hmm You can do that. Yeah, I agree 100%.
You know, and going back too, they have the option to do that. See, back in the, some decades ago, you had to go through specific channels to get
Right.
things done. Even
Correct.
now, with your publishing company, it was even hard for people to have independent publishing companies because they were competing with the big, the machine. So
That's right. That is right. And the only reason I got mine because I went to that. It's called Nashville Community College, but when I went in 2002 to 2004, it was Nashville State Tech, right? And so Mr. Bob Della Posta, who was my music publishing teacher, had connections to ASCAP and BMI. So that's how I got my songwriting licenses and my publishing. Because back then, ASCAP, I wish I still had it. It might be in my hand right now, and I will show it to y'all. It gave you like a physical card. This is how old I am. They gave you a physical card to show around. There they don't. Then you just download the little card or whatever. But yeah, but if it wasn't for him calling, I mean, he literally called the top people, so everybody in his class could get a publishing company and a songwriting license through them. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So you're absolutely correct. I'm sitting here looking for it now to see if I got it. I might not got it on y'all. Next show, I might have to show it to you. But yeah,
you
need to get a license.
And you know what, Sky? Something
All right,
else.
here you go, Damo. Look at this. Can y'all see it?
Oh wow!
What does it say? 2004. Yeah. So to get this, you had to go through hoops to get this.
Right.
Now, if you get on, they don't give you this physical card no more. But back then, they gave you this physical card. Yeah.
I had to download one. When I ended up getting the one from CD Baby. So when I went on there and it give you ASCAP, I forget the other one offhand, but
BMI.
Huh?
BMI.
Yeah, BMI. So it gave you those two options. It was it was a third one, I thought.
CSAC.
CSAC. So it gave you the option to choose from them three, right?
Right.
And you were right. It allowed me to download a digital card. And I don't know if I had the right to publish others, but it just gave me my publishing card, which was downloadable.
Right. And what turned me on to make me go was I thought that you either had to choose one or the other.
Right.
So if you're just, and in my opinion, because I've been doing this for a while, if you're just a songwriter and maybe a part-time musician, go with ASCAP because that's what they're for. They're more towards people of the arts, right? Because if you ASCAP is a acronym.
Right.
If you're more business-minded like me, then that's what BMI is. BMI is for folks radio, because a lot of radio stations across the country is licensed with BMI.
Right.
A lot of publishers are licensed with BMI. Well, as a publisher, which I am, I was both BMI and ASCAP. As a songwriter, you can only be with one. So as a songwriter, I was BMI, but as a publisher, I was both ASCAP and BMI. And CSAC, forget about it. CSAC, you have to be really trending because they come and get you. You cannot apply for CSAC. They come after you. Once you've gotten so big or your catalog has gotten so big, then that's when they'll come look for you and say, hey, come join us.
Right.
That's more of a European publishing company.
What, BMI?
No, CSAC.
CSAC, okay.
Yeah. They deal mostly with overseas.
Oh, nice. And in all genres?
Yes.
All right.
And see, where I'm from, Edgehill, I stayed on Villa, right?
Right.
2 streets over was Music Road. I could walk to ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC. I could walk to Music Road. And so you got to realize a young Sky Black back in 1990, I was like 12 years old. And that was back then when artists literally was walking around up and down Broadway and Music Road, passing out CDs, cassettes, shaking folks' hands. They don't do that. Shaking folks' hands, all that stuff. I tell people, I met Billy Ray Cyrus a year or two before his achy breaky heart or them boots, whatever it was that made him famous. He was standing outside. Imagine he's young, long hair, button-up shirt, jeans, and boots. And he handed me and a friend of mine, LP, a CD. LP was in the rap, so he wasn't gonna listen to it. So I took it home and I listened to it. And a year later, he's on the CMA Awards doing the song. And I said, Mama, I met that man.
Wow.
I met Billy Ray Cyrus back in 1990. He was outside promoting his music.
You know, that's the one thing that you guys had going that I'm jealous of. When I moved here in 02, 03, over where they call them the Nations, they had a CD manufacturing company right there, man, a massive one.
Yep.
And then it went out of business.
And they went out of business.
And they had a couple of those, man. They had one, if I'm correct, South Nashville.
Yep. And that's where I'm from, South Nashville. Yeah. So they had one over there by not too far from where I was talking about Broadway and stuff. It was called CD Maker or CD something.
Yeah, I think it was CD Maker.
Over there, yeah.
The little white building.
Yeah, and you used to send out little catalogs. I used to have the little books where it told you 1,000 CDs would be $800. I mean, just all that stuff.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
We had
or they would convert the old VHS movies into DVDs, like they did it all. Covers, everything. Yeah.
And you know, fast forward, you know, we're getting to the bad now. Some of the bad of what do you see? I see something that's bad that bothers me. I think they've made it too easy for artists to be anybody to be an artist.
Correct. It's supply and demand. So that's in any industry, right?
Right.
So in 2004, I remember I was at National State Tech. So in National State Tech, I was taking music production because I wanted to be able to do both. I wanted to be able to sit at the table with these white folks and talk about sync licensing and mechanical licensing, which that's what I learned at MTSU those 4 years.
Right.
For those 2 years, I want to be able to sit with artists like you, and when you talking about this and Phantoms and Tritons and XLR chords, I want to be able to have those conversations with you too.
Right.
So we learned about Pro Tools in 2004. The good thing about Pro Tools was, hey, you didn't have to pay $75, $100 an hour to them folks down on Music Road to record. Because I'm telling you, it was $100 an hour for your voice to hit the microphone and for them to record. This wasn't mixing.
$100 an hour?
This was just vocal recording. Back in the day, it would cost a country artist mixing, mastering, recording, radio ready, anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 for one song. One song to pitch to all the publishers downtown, to all the record labels on this one CD. Ooh. And you would go and pitch them to see who would want it because you just spend $3,000 to $6,000, right? So 2004, here comes Pro Tools. And I was like, this is great. But then I also said, this is going to be worse for the business because then anybody named Mama could go spend $200, $300, record music, and just put it out there.
Man, you know what? We had a digital, it was a professional $1 million studio by this guy named Tom Hanna in the Ella area of Akron, Ohio. And when we did our first album, he was asking us for digital, which he charged $40 an hour. Now, anybody that's familiar with the process of recording, you would have your individual tracks, but then you would have to record the sounds individually also.
Correct.
And that was $40 an hour. Sky, you are absolutely correct. It is easily, you could spend anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 on one individual song.
Right.
And if you didn't have a label behind you, you had to pay for that out of pocket.
And that's absolutely correct. So the studio you went into, because again, when I was at National State Tech, he took us to professional studios, big ones, small ones. And then we had a studio inside the school where I had to learn how to work the board. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, the mixing,
So,
the master or the mix board?
Yeah, so you always had two people. You have the mixer, the mixing person, and the assistant mixing person. So you got to pay for them too.
Right.
I had to learn how to rap chords. I had to learn how to mic drums, mic artists, mic guitars. I mean, you paying for all that stuff. This is why you in these big studios. Because
Right.
they're going to make you sound great, but you better be ready to pay for it.
Yep. And so, you know, man, I know with us, we invested. We every week we just sat down, put together a business plan. We invested till we got all the equipment that we needed. And by the time we did that, guess what happened?
What happened?
It was all analog, and then it went from analog to digital.
Yeah,
And
where am I?
people,
What 2005 and when I went to digital?
and people wanted CDs.
Right. You was absolutely, and I'm not against the analog. I'm with you. I recorded on analog. I had a DAC.
I love
I had
that
a
old
DAC
school
tape and a
sound.
DAC player. Heck yeah, but it only gave you like 4 tracks. The DAC player I had, so we were screwed. You know what I'm saying? But a real studio, man, to one song is like 32 individual tracks. I mean, because what we call in hip hop the beat, they call it track writers. Like white folks call it instrument. You have a songwriter, a lyric writer, and then you have the track writer. So the track writer could use 25 individual channels on the board, because you might have 2 sets of drums in this song, 2 sets of horns. So when we hear when we're in the car hearing do 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 do, that could be 2 separate bass lines, separate drums, separate. You know, you have drummer A playing, and then drummer B, what they call session musicians, will come play a different chord. So it sounds like one drum player, but it's 2. So that's 25 individual channels gone right there. And then here you come, Damo, laying your verse. And if you come with your brother and anybody else, that could be another 25. So then you talk about 50 channels that this man got to mix down into one. Yeah, you're going to pay for that.
Yeah. And it was going to be expensive.
Yeah, it was. But then that's what iTunes did. It came and iTunes was like, hey, you ain't got to go pay this man $75 an hour. We can do it here. And then, you know, iTunes was like, hey, for 20, back when iTunes first started, for like $25, $30, we'll put your music out there. And so now all of a sudden, something as lucrative as having a CD in your hand and listening to good music, everybody's putting out music now.
Right.
So I knew that in 2004, it was going to go down a little bit.
Right.
So record labels are not passing out record deals like that no more, because hell, they can just wait for Joe Blow to spend all his money, go viral, and then offer him I won't say the S word, but offer him a poopy deal, and then go do that, you know?
Yep. And so I think it's just too easy for anybody to just be a musician. And I think that's bad for the industry, because you have to cipher through all the terrible music to find something that you're actually interested in. And I think certain platforms like SoundCloud,
right?
You know, man, is saturated with a lot of terrible artists, or artists that's not serious. So the artists that are serious, you don't want to take the time siphoning through all that music just to find them.
That's absolutely correct. And another bad thing about it, so let's say Damo, me and you, we wanted to get into law, just any type of law, right? And we go up to these white folks and we like, yeah, we want to get into law. And they start talking to us, and we talking like street slang. They ain't gonna take us seriously. They're not, because we don't know their lingo. We didn't take the time to learn the lingo, right? So when people come to me, I'm like, if you want to go to these white folks for this money, first of all, stop saying the things that you're saying. Okay, first of all, when people say producer, they're thinking, oh, I'm the one that makes the beat. No, a producer in music and a producer in movies is the person that puts up the money. That's all a producer does. Who puts up the money? An executive producer is the person that puts up the money and oversees the project. Quit saying your chorus is a hook. A hook is any part of the song that brings the audience in. That's what a hook is. It don't have to be the chorus. It could be a verse. It could be anything. But in hip hop, you got to do the hook. You can't go around these white folks talking like that. They're gonna ask you the verse, the chorus, or the bridge. You talking about man, they're gonna be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So I try to educate them like that's called a chorus, not a hook. Know the difference between a chorus and a hook and a verse and a bridge. If you don't know that, why would these people want to invest money into you when you ain't taking the time to learn the business?
Right.
So but that's how they do it. And so I'm just like, hey, if you're gonna say you have a producer, they're gonna ask you, well, show me the producer. Well, here he is. He the one did the beat. Like, no, he did your beat. A producer is whoever put the money behind your project. That's the producer.
Right. And I think beat makers confuse themselves with producers also. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a discussion with somebody. There are people that can make beats and then the artists have to conform to the beat. And then there are what I call producers that they can take your acapella and rap music around your acapella. And
Correct.
beat makers, for the most part, they can't do that. What they're trying to do is find a beat that matches your cadence and do it that way. And that's really a beat maker, or they make loops. You know what I'm saying? And the loop may break down, but it's really just a loop, a continuing loop.
Correct. And that's what I was trying to tell them. Like, if you in the streets and you talking about beats, and that's fine. But when you're going to go to these white folks, they're going to ask you who wrote the lyrics, who wrote the track, which means who got together. When they say who wrote the track, they usually talk about the engineer because that's the one who mixes everything down. Then they're going to ask you, did you have session musicians? Like, how many people came in? Because you could take a Taylor Swift song and she ain't seen none of those musicians. None of them. They hired these musicians to come in and play the drums, the piano, the guitar, the banjo, whatever, right? And then when they're done, Taylor Swift comes in and lay her vocals. Boom. And that's the whole song. That's what we're hearing on the radio. And she ain't met none of those people. None of them.
Right. And a lot of times she may be in one half of the studio recording vocals, and they're in the other half recording the instrumentals.
That is absolutely correct. So if you're going to get into this business, you have to learn the lingo. Like any business, we're going to get into law. If we're going to become doctors, you can't become a doctor and people using lingo, stat, and this and that, and you don't know what they're talking about. So that's why a lot of people don't make it into business, is because they're coming out of the streets, not educating themselves and trying to go to folks and get their money. Because if I'm gonna come to you and ask you for money, Damo, and I sound stupid, you're not gonna give me no money. Even if I ask for $5, you're gonna know, like, this nigga here, what are you talking about? You better know what you're talking about if you're gonna hold a conversation with somebody and be businesslike.
Especially when you're talking about trying to use their money.
Yeah, when you try to use their money, that is absolutely correct. You better know what a point is. You better know what a recoupment is. You better know all these things. And one thing I try to tell folks is, TLC went broke, and some other people went broke, right? So back in the day, they would do 1288, right? So the record label would get 88% of a CD, which is a mechanical license, and the artist would get 12, right? So so when the CD has sold millions of records, the record company is still getting their 88, but they're dipping into your 12 for the recoupment. So if they gave you a $3 million advancement, plus paid for your videos and your dancers, took you out to eat, paid for the tour bus, your hotels, that's coming out of your 12. That's not included in their 88. Their 88,
and they want that money, and they want that money first and foremost.
Right. And then they're gonna come into your 12 and recoup that money. And the first $3 million they give you is to buy you out of your publishing. You thinking, I got $3 million. Well, they own your song for the rest of eternity. They're gonna make that $3 million back in like 5-6 years.
And what you just explained to people, for y'all that's listening, that is why the majority of artists are broke.
Yeah.
Y'all think that they got money because, man, they get, it's kind of like going to a bank, taking out a loan. Well, yeah, they took out that loan, but they got to pay that back.
Yeah.
And so until they pay it back, man, they in debt.
It's absolutely correct. So you got to pay that money back, and whatever else. And then okay, so your first CD you don't sell, and the record label's like, you know what? We'll give you another try, but you're still in debt for the first CD. They
Oh, of
give you
course.
another 3 million. Now you 6 million in debt because now they give you 3 million more for the second CD, and then plus whatever studio time is, all that stuff. So you end up being 10, 12 million dollars in debt. And the record label owns you. They won't let you sign with nobody else. They won't let you do mixtapes. They won't you do nothing until you pay them what you owe them, or a new record label comes and pay you out of your contract, and then you in debt to the new record label.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yes, which is
for
bad.
example, for those who need an example, take Master P buying out Snoop Dogg's contract from Suge Knight. If you just need an example.
Yeah, because P actually, Snoop man pay homage to P anytime he talk about P. Because P is actually the person that groomed him on how the whole record industry and record business work.
Correct.
You know, and he showed him how to set up a business, how to run a label, and everything. Fast forward now, Snoop owns the road.
Ain't that crazy?
That's crazy.
We come full circle. Snoop now owns the label that signed him at first. Ain't that crazy?
Man, and that's a beautiful thing, man. And while we talk about the beautiful, let's get to the ugly part of the industry. You know, I don't know how to say this anymore. The image that they putting out right now, you know, man, most of the music people on drugs. They probably the all-time gangsterest killers on the earth, killed about 2,000 people. Or with a lot of these people, like, don't get me wrong. I like Glorilla. I like Glorilla's her songs. They dope. I just wish she didn't sound so like that deep. It's almost like I'm listening to a dude rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, her voice deeper than my voice. And then another thing, what I don't like, and I think is really ugly about the industry right now, a lot of these female artists look like walking STDs. They look like if I listen to their music, I'm going to catch something. I just start scratching. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish they had more classic. What happened to the MC Lights? MC Light wasn't, you know, man, she was pretty, but, you know, yeah, she's a little masculine. But you can still see some feminine side. Or Queen Latifah, you know, Eve, you know. And I know Foxy Brown and them and Lil Kim, they kind of started that trend, but they were sexy. It wasn't too trashy. Maybe their lyrics was, but they weren't too trashy.
Right.
Now, look like I'm going to catch something. Yeah, Sexy Red, man, look like a walking STD. I don't care what y'all say.
Like if you buy her CD, you gonna catch your STD. You ain't gotta touch her. Just buy the CD, you got it.
Man, I listened to her song and start itching. Scratching my crotch and stuff, man. That just looked like chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis all in one.
All in one. Yeah. I'm with you, Damo. Speaking of MC Light, I saw her, I don't know if it's biography or TV one behind the scenes, but when she first got into the industry, she didn't sound like that. Somebody told her that you need to deepen your voice if you want to make it. So she went home and learned how to deepen her voice to rap. So the MC Light that we're hearing, that's not the original MC Light.
Gotcha.
And I had to say that because somebody told her that's what she needed to do to make it. Jermaine
Dupri, she wasn't as bad as Glorilla. I mean, her voice, Glorilla sound like, man, she very white deep.
So maybe a guy told her the same thing, like they told Foxy, like they told Lil Kim. I mean, I don't know why they do that. But Jermaine Dupri a couple years ago got slapped because he said it's nothing but a bunch of strippers rapping. What do you think about that?
He right. It's a bunch of strippers with STDs, man. I'm telling you. There's nothing. I don't know who told these female rappers that BBLs was in. Because they not. Them BBLs y'all be wearing looks horrible. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, but man, a lot of these females be tatted up on their face and whatnot. No, when is that sexy? Nothing sexy about that.
I agree, but it's some hood nigga out there that's dope, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But then the dudes are sleeping on, man, their mom's couch right now, man, in their 40s.
on their mom's couch. You're right about that.
You know, the dudes that got a 150 credit score. You
Yep.
know, they couldn't put a loaf of bread on layaway.
You was absolutely correct. And you know, I don't know. I've had this conversation with people way back in the day. Who do you blame, right? You blame the artist, the record label, or the fans? Because if you put out, let's
All
say,
of them.
and I love Jill Scott. So if you put out a Jill Scott, or if you put out a Kirk Franklin, they're only going to chart their genres, right? So you have a gospel artist who's the number one gospel artist in the world, but she will never touch top 25 on the 100 Billboard. Only thing that's 25 and up is the music that you're talking about. Even with country music, if you listen to country music, all they're talking about is drinking beer, trucks, and women. They're just saying it in a whole different way. I was behind the scenes one time in Lieber Fort, Tennessee. I had to be security. And I was back there with all them top country musicians, and all of them that came out of rehab. And Damo, I hadn't seen so much beer in my life. They were trying to offer me some. I was like, no. When I'm talking about, it had at least almost 1,000 bottles of beer back there. That was ridiculous. So even if you're in the hip hop, you're going to get it, or even if you listen to country, you're going to get it. And I had a friend that said he hated both. He called it crap. He called it crap. Country and rap was crap. That's what he called it.
And you know what? You look now on Broadway. You know, man, that's the country music strip. Yep. And all you see is watered down beer, man. It is nothing but bars, you know what I'm saying, and music. And you're right, you know, but their music sounds impressive.
Right. So we're talking about Glorilla and them as far as, you know, the hip hop. But look at some of the white women downtown, the way they're dressing and getting drunk and lifting up their tops and their dresses. So we could say, you know, hip hop is negativity, but then you could also say,
oh, country music got the same effect. Oh, you'll never get. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And you can see it on Broadway.
You can see it on Broadway, yes. Mm-hmm. They be on them party buses going up and down the street.
Man.
Doing everything, right?
I'll be waiting for one of them to fall up out of the top of it so I can accidentally run them over and be like, well, they fell when I ain't see them.
Correct.
Y'all gonna perfectly see me do one of these numbers.
Right.
Talk about keep your dumb ass held up in that bus. What you hanging out for? You drunk. Man, I'm glad you said that. Because every time I think about the seatbelt ticket I got, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And I block away from my house and hear these bozos is on party buses, drinks in hands, they standing, not a seatbelt in sight. And now because they can make money off of it, it's fine. I want to go back and get my money back.
Correct. And so the girl that hangs with Sexy Red, what's her name, Sukihana or whatever?
Oh, she even worse.
They said she sold her soul to the devil. She's out here crying, begging for it back. Talking about her booty hole brown in one of the songs. I was like, could you imagine us
That's
going
Sexy
up?
Red. Pound Town. You talking about Pound Town. That's Sexy Red that had that song. My pink, my booty hole brown and all that.
Could you imagine us growing up, Damo, in our grandmama's house, listening to music like that? They would beat the hell out of us. Like, what is the crap that you is listening to?
Could you imagine the grandmama listening to that and dancing to it?
No, not mine, not any of mine.
But you know some grandmas out here now.
Oh,
you thinking about these grandmas now in their 30s.
They in their 30s, yeah.
Early 30s.
Yeah, early. Oh yeah, sure live.
So 8:30, they kid 15, and they got a grandkid that's a newborn. That's bad.
That is bad, man. That's just society. I don't know. I was pre-warned about that. They told me babies are going to start having babies. Because all the big mamas are gone, man. There's no more big mamas. There's no more, disciplining these kids and all this old stuff. So when you get a Sexy Red, I'm wondering what was her upbringing. Who raised her? She cannot tell me, well, my grandma raised me. I just can't believe your grandma raised you and you talking like this. Now, if your young mama and your young daddy raised you, then I can believe that. Or if the streets raised you, I can believe that. But, man, you can't tell me your grandmama then raised you to be talking about your booty hole brown and all this old stuff. Come on now.
You know the bizarre part of this, though?
Mm-hmm.
Luke and them, they gave them hell when they was trying to put out music. You know what I'm saying? Oh, right. Lisa Horny. Oh, Lisa Horny. They gave them hell.
Right.
Right? They wanted to crucify them. Right. Fast forward, these chicks are saying stuff. Did you see the one on the viral video? Look, let me take it back. First of all, they had Sexy Red on the podcast talking about, openly admitting to having 2 STDs. And then this is somebody they're bringing to a high school. They invited her to her high school to speak in front of kids. Could you imagine our high school bringing Luke and them up to speak in front of us? Do you think that ever, even imaginably, could have happened?
No. No
way.
No.
Man, you're right.
I just couldn't see it. It's just something. And, a lot of times when we talk about this, people are saying we're attacking folks' freedom of speech. Because that's what Luke stood on. I'm an American, I'm freedom of speech. And I'm thinking, Luke, I'm not mad at that. But Luke spent millions of dollars to fight it. This is what I would have done if I was Luke. I would have had a clean version CD for those who wanted to hear the clean version, and I would have had an explicit version for those who wanted to hear the explicit version. I wouldn't have spent all that money Luke spent. I would have been like, you know what? For those who want to hear me say this, you buy this album. For those that don't want to hear me say this, we got to beat that. You know what I'm saying?
You know what it reminds me of, Stein? You know what the whole situation reminds me of?
What's that?
You made a good point. Luke and them, they pay a lot of money to be able to maintain their freedom of speech.
Correct.
The same way that a lot of guys and a lot of people went to prison for selling marijuana. Fast forward, now you have shops and people can buy it, right?
Correct.
Out here selling marijuana, got businesses, cannabis businesses. And now you got Sexy Red and them openly not having to answer to nobody, even worse language than Luke and them. And they do it without any cards. They don't pay no price for it.
If you go back and talk to the people who was trying to censor Luke, the congressman back in Florida and some that was in Washington, D.C., if they heard Sexy Red today, they're going to swear to God it's because of Luke. They were going to be like, this is why we tried to stop him, because this is what it led to. But then I'm going to be like, to me, Sexy Red was going to be Sexy Red even if Luke never existed. We've all just come from different walks of life. Because I always listen to some people's rap, and like you saw, they talk about it selling cocaine and pimping and beating women. Well, if that's all they saw growing up, they're never going to be a Common. They're never going to listen to Common or rap like Common. So the way it goes, Sexy Red was going to be Sexy Red, whether Luke won or lost.
And you know what? I think that's the ugly part about hip hop also. Back in the 90s, I missed the days where it was like going to a restaurant and you had a variety of choices you could pick from. So one day, if I wanted to listen to Bone, Thugs and Harmony, I could listen to Bone. Or I could go to Arrested Development or Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You understand? With all the different flavors, the roots, Crucial Conflict.
Yes, I love Crucial Conflict. Hey, in the middle of the bar. Yes.
Think about all the variety. Now, fast forward, man, it's like we going and all there is Popeyes and KFC. Remember before we had Popeyes, KFC, churches, we had all these different Miss Winners.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's like we only got a limited KFC or Popeyes.
That's true. That's true.
And so
You're
we
right.
don't have that variety. It's hard for me. A lot of times, man, I would go to the radio station to hear what's the latest song. Now the radio station all sound the same. It's like I'm getting, when I look at the menu, everything is the same on the menu.
That's it. And they rotate it every day. That's what made me
Yep.
want to start my own radio station because you listen to the same top 10 people every day, every show. Even when they switch to DJs, they still playing the same thing over and over. It's all just a business. Excuse me. It's all
Man,
just a business, you know.
make me want to put duct tape on my ears, man. I'm just telling
And
y'all.
and that is crazy. It does. But at the same time, it's like, is there a disconnect between us and our children? Like back in the day when people was coming out of go-go dancing and their children started listening to rock and roll, they was like, what is this crap that y'all are listening to?
Right.
And then they come out of rock and roll and disco, and then people start listening to hip hop, and their parents are like, what are y'all listening to? And me and you coming out of hip hop listening to rap, and we asking our kids, what are y'all listening to? You know what I'm saying? So
It's almost like this is all done deliberately. It's like I feel like the artists don't have as much freedom. Not saying that they had a whole lot then, but
mhm,
they had enough freedom where they could shop their music to the label, and then the label have the final say.
right.
Now it's almost as if the label. It sounds like to me that the label is telling them, "This is what you're going to do music about. If it ain't this, we don't want it."
I believe it 100%. And that's why a lot of people don't want labels because they want control over their music. And then that's another thing that these people need to learn about. Because what irritates me about publishing and copyright, right? So
Right.
the copyright laws, well, let's just break it down into general, right? I buy a Sexy Red CD if they still come out with CDs. You come over my house, I make a copy, and I give it to you. That's against the law because I did not have her permission, the publisher's permission, or the regulator's permission to distribute that to you. Whether I sold it to you or not, that is against the law, right? But they ain't gonna come
Right.
after everybody because that would be crazy, right? So
Right.
when people like, well, I want my masters, well, the only thing with your masters is you're just controlling the copy, the copyright. The real owners are the publishers. This is why
Yes.
you had all these issues with P. Diddy and everything else. If I own Damo's publishing, let's say Damo is a Democrat, I'm just saying, and a Republican wants to pay me $1 million to license it, 9 times out of 10, I don't need his permission because I'm the publisher. Most publishers will say, hey, Damo, this is what's on the table. But I'm just saying, you want to own the publishing to your music, to your, what do you call them, magazines. The
Yeah.
person who owns the rights is the ones who has the final say so. So when people are like, man, I own my masters, I tell them that means absolutely nothing. Unless
Nothing.
you
You're
go
right.
sue somebody for copyright infringement, that means nothing. Who owns your publishing? That's why Michael Jackson and the dude from the Beatles, what's his name?
I can't.
Paul
I know.
McCartney. That's
Yeah.
why they fell out because Paul McCartney bought Michael Jackson's. No, sorry, Michael Jackson bought the Beatles catalog because Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson was having a conversation, and Michael Jackson was saying, "I'm gonna go back to Sony and buy my catalog." Where Paul McCartney beat him to it and bought Michael Jackson's catalog. So that means he owned all them songs from when he was a little boy up until the day he died. Well, Paul McCartney
Wow.
eventually sold it back, but I'm just saying in that middle time, that's why they quit talking because now he
Right.
owns publishing to Michael Jackson's music. Or let's break it down for people who wants to make it more evenly. Dr. Dre owns Eminem's publishing. Eminem owns 50 Cent's publishing. 50 Cent owns Young Buck's publishing. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
everybody, that's how it works. That's why you
Yeah.
get this big advancement. And this is why when Buck fell out with 50, he wouldn't let him do nothing because you had to go through him to either A, get your music back or ask his permission to do this, this, and the third.
That's deep. And
Yeah,
have access permission with your music.
with your music, because you don't own the publishing. Same thing with
Right.
the Locks. When they signed with P. Diddy probably gave them $3 million a piece, but he took the publishing so he could put it on the radio. And this is what we call sync licensing. When you put it on the radio, commercials, movies, That's where you get your sync licensing from. And so the Locks is like, well, we didn't know that up front, and they fought for years and years and years and years. Now P. Diddy finally gave it back to him. Look how much
Didn't he
money
give everybody
that boy made. Yeah, look how much
Didn't
money
he
he
give
made by the
everybody
time
their
he gave it
rights
back to
back?
you. Huh?
Didn't he give everybody their rights back recently?
Yeah, but look how much money he's made.
Oh yeah.
So I would give it back to you. And then once they got it back, Jadakiss sold his catalog for like $10 million, I think he said. 10 or 20 million. Because you know now a lot of these artists are selling their catalogs, the ones that you own their publishing, yeah. But you can't sell your catalog if you don't own the publishing to your music. Even LeChat, that's why she left 3-6, because they had her publishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something, man, I think that the industry don't have enough of is mentors to talk
that's
about.
Why you need them.
They are needed. That's where somebody like you will come in.
Well, you know what? Not even me, because I've been telling folks I'm going to start my own podcast, but I didn't know where to go. So to be honest with you, you're my mentor. That's why I haven't started yet. I'm doing this with you on Tuesdays to learn what to do and what not to do before I even hit the play button over here on mine. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Right. You need a mentor to learn from somebody, ask questions, whether it's a paid or non, whatever, before you jump into the water. Because if you don't, it's like jumping into a pool blind. You know, there ain't no water in that pool, you're going to be hurt.
Right. You're right, man. Man, this was next week. I know this hour went by even faster than the last couple weeks.
Yeah. Hey, remember that question I asked you about upload? It did. The last show me and you did, it uploaded to my YouTube. It automatically did it. I just had to go to the tab to say it live, and we're there.
Okay, nice. Because I know the day I went live, thank you, Lord. I haven't had any issues so far. Right. So I think that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I think it did help with me clearing out the computer. Next week, we are going to have a third party on, just somebody that's a good friend of mine, special guest. And hold on, I'm trying to pull it up. Let me turn it on my phone. We're going to have a good conversation. And I think this is a conversation to be had for men, but we're going to be talking about things to look for in a wife.
Gotcha.
Because that is very important. That's a discussion that we men need to have amongst ourselves. And that would be a good conversation amongst three men.
That's correct.
Right. A lot of guys don't have fathers in their lives. They don't have male mentors or nobody that talk to them anything as far as the do's and don'ts of when you're trying to get into a serious relationship and bring that over into a marriage. So,
well,
next week.
What do they say? He who finds a wife finds a good woman, right?
Or finds a good thing.
Yeah, finds a good thing. Yeah. And you know what? I've been on both sides, man. You know, I've been on that. I don't need no woman. I'm gonna be single, and then I've been on the side I'm on now. So yeah, I can argue on both sides. We had a debate, and you like, well, Sky pick a side. I now can argue both sides. You know
what? Truth be told, at one point before I got married, before I met my wife, I was there also, and I think a lot of males, and I get it. I understand how because you look at the state of women now.
Yeah.
I mean, man. It's almost like somebody yell, it's a good bucket of chicken in there, and then you get there and you at the bottom and you finding the burnt up parts of it and the flats and the things that people don't want that's in the chicken box. That's what it feel like now.
That's correct. I mean, like you said right now, grandmamas are 30, right? You have feminists that's running around wanting to be men. The only thing some of them are missing is just the penis, right? You have lesbians. So what pool do you pull from? And I'm even talking about even in the church. What pool do you pull from to find you a good woman?
Right.
So like you said, they're having babies at 15 and they're still children. So what have they learned in life to be a good woman? And if they listening to Sexy Red and Cardi B, I don't need a man. I don't cook or clean. He gonna pay my bills. He gonna lick this and eat that. These young people, I understand why they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find a good woman.
Right. Yep. And so we're gonna jump into that, man. Next week, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Man, Sky, I hope you have a good rest of the week. Let's hope it don't get too much cooler. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna go ahead and
I'm just glad that it didn't died out. I'm gonna put this lawnmower in the shed, and and hell, to when it's grass cutting season, March of next year. That's when I'll see it again, March of next year.
I think I'm gonna do my last cut on Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm off. I know right now I got to contend with take care of these vehicles, but I'm gonna do that last trim, and I don't think we're gonna have to do one after that. I don't think the weather's going to be good long enough for there to be any new growth. So
I'm with you on that. I sure am, and again, thank you for including me in this whole thing, man. I'm really excited. I'm really learning. I'm learning how to be a podcaster, create content, because anybody can just go on the camera and hit record and just sit there and just talk. You have structure. You have things that you want to talk about. You have things that we need to hear, whether we want to hear them or not. And that's what I want to do from day one when I start podcast number one. That's how I want to do, have this interaction and have people learn from me as I learn from them.
Man, vice versa. I don't even know if I could have started this thing without you. So a great deal of gratitude and thanks to you. You know what I'm saying? You are one of the most respected people from my end, period, in life.
Thank you.
Whether it be from Ohio or Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? A straight up good dude with a wealth of experience and knowledge and professionalism. So I want to extend that thanks to you also.
Well, I try. Old folks, you say nothing beats a failure but a try. That's all I do. Every day is try.
You got it, my man. Y'all, we're going to be here next week, so make sure y'all tune in. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We love y'all. Y'all have a great rest of the week. And as the saying goes, the only thing guaranteed in life is death. So do not overworry.
That's it. That is it. See y'all next week.
Peace.